right, welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Nicholas Salome here at Wichita State University, a professor of physics in the Department of Mathematics, Statistics, and Physics. Today I'm joined by Trent English of Los Alamos National Lab. Welcome, Trent.
Thank you for having me on the podcast today.
Well, Trent was a 2022 graduate of Wichita State University with a Master's of Science in Physics. He arrived at Wichita State University after getting a Bachelor's of Science in Physics from Central Washington University. Did 2 years of studies in physics at Wichita State, working in my NASA group from fall of 2020 until August of 2022. So, Trent, tell us how you came about to be a master's student at Wichita State University from Washington.
So it was a kind of an interesting journey because after I got my physics degree from Washington, I still wanted to go into engineering. And so I spent a year at Mississippi State University doing, or not a year, about 1 semester doing aerospace engineering, doing anything from the beginning classes all the way up to senior level just to get a head start on that. But it was not at least as interesting and intriguing as the previous studies that I did at Central, where I did a few things in optical physics, a little bit of particle physics, and a little bit of electrical engineering as well. So being able to have that kind of diversity in studies, I wasn't getting the same type of thing in aerospace. So I made the switch to go back to school for physics and it applied to multiple PhD programs, but also found Wichita State, which had the particle physics program, saw the studies that they are currently doing in neutrino physics with NOVA and the future projects with Dune, and saw that as that is something that I want to get into. And applied and honestly got in pretty quickly and made the move from Mississippi over to Wichita. And at least that's how I found Wichita and started my studies there.
Well, now that you have finished your master's degrees, what's your perspective on your time spent at Wichita State? I'm talking, what's your perspective on the classes we taught you at the graduate level? What was your perspective on the research work you actually did? Because you actually went off and did something quite famous. You were one of the few people invited to give a completely paid talk at the Paris conference by NASA.
Yes. No, so especially the first year was definitely, I would say, interesting for the fact of it was still middle of COVID, so all the classes were online. It was difficult to focus because especially kind of being secluded from everything and you're trying to take classes. But the way that all the classes, at least once we went back into person, were structured, it was really nice having kind of the small amount of students be able to work with each other fairly closely. The learning style seemed to be right up my alley, where it was like, a mix of pre-prep for learn what we're going to be doing the next day and come in, ask questions. And so at least with that dynamic, it was able to help me learn a lot more at the same time. And so the first year I was a GRA teaching the labs and things like that, which personally I had a lot of fun with, even if it was online. And then found your group that was doing the NASA project and personally loved the project, loved where it was going. And the type of work that I did, a mix of hands-on, working with the detectors, and then also the simulation aspect, learning Jan4 and all of that, which that's always an uphill battle. It's constantly an uphill battle. And so at least having that mix and kind of the freedom to, let's go test this real quick. Let's make this to work on experiments. It made the time doing like the project and the experiments enjoyable.
Well, the first year graduate classes are always the toughest for anyone going off and starting graduate studies. They usually get overwhelmed that first year, but you survived it, so that's good. At the same time, one thing I'm very proud of our group is that we produce students with a very rare talent. They actually know how to work with equipment. Most master students and PhD students come out and all they do is know how to do some software analysis. But my students, which actually goes off to show you that the two of my previous students, as one was a master's, one was an undergraduate, they went off to head the entire DOE upgrades for their LHC project, one on Atlas and one on CMS.
Oh, okay.
And so the fact that both of those are students of mine tells you that, yes, I produce students that know how to work with equipment and get
Yeah,
data
because
and from it to do science.
true, yeah, because the especially the aspect of being able to work on both has been nice. Just being able to, oh yeah, I can do simulations, or oh, they need help in the lab. Perfect, I can go do that. And also, I'm typically a quick learn when it comes to it. So it's
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, if we need something, sure, I'll go learn that pretty fast.
So really one question comes down to is, and this is often asked by other students, is the PhD versus the master's degree. I mean, you were going to do a PhD with me after doing a 1 year internship at Los Alamos. Of course, they gave you an offer you couldn't refuse, I'm sure. But I guess, well, your work was too good for you to leave and come back, and DOE is treating you well. After your DOE internship, you got promoted as a
Mhm.
scientist now at Los Alamos with just a master's. So, what's your perspective to the students who say, should I just end at a master's or should I try for a PhD?
Yeah, so I definitely say it depends of what they're trying to do in the long scheme of things. If they're doing more of the academia route and want to stay in academia, then it's probably better to get the PhD, especially for people that are in physics. The national labs, it's a little bit hit or miss. I kind of found a beautiful area of where I work at Los Alamos that came in as a intern doing a postmaster internship, and um, they liked the skills that I had so much that they wanted to convert me to scientist. And looking at the tracks that the lab has for the scientist position, you can actually get to any position with a master's or a PhD. It just at that point depends of years of experience. Um, and so at least in that part, yeah, you can come in with masters and be perfectly fine. I know at least some of the other labs or institutions, it's one of those that it's like you have to have a PhD to even get into the door. So they don't always give you the option to see like, oh, this is the work that I've done. They look for that title sometimes. So yeah, it really depends. If you can get a foot in the door, especially like internship like I did, it's like, oh, you can get in, make that initial money, get to meet people, and gain the experiences at the same time, because that internship doesn't say that, oh, you have to stay here after. It's like you're good for 1 or 2 years, and then you can go off to do anything else. So I know a lot of people that they did their internship here and then they went back for their PhD.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I tell that to people that PhDs are sometimes overrated. It is true if you want to be a faculty person that you probably need a PhD, unless you're working at a community college or a smaller school.
Mhm.
But at the same time, a PhD is a nice goal to get. But if you're going to go off to DOE lab, a NASA lab, a NIH lab, or any of the industrial labs, you probably could do really well with just a master's where you get the experience of actually learning. Don't forget, you're unique. A lot of people leave with a master's and still haven't mastered everything that you had done by now. Okay. So tell me about Los Alamos. I mean, does it look anything like the movie Oppenheimer still?
So at least, yeah, when it comes to some of the like scenes in the movie of a little bit more desert, a little bit more barren. No, it at least in recent years since I moved here, it's been fairly luscious green around the area. So it's like you get that kind of trade off of, oh, okay, it's not fully desert. You do actually have some green here. It just depends of how much rain we've gotten, and recently we've been getting a decent amount of it. They do still have the main gate that is portrayed in the movie, and
Mhm.
that's actually as you come up the main hill going into town. The main gate is off to the side, so people can still go see the historic site. Sadly, I do not have any pictures of that. I've driven by it, I've stopped at it, but I've just never taken a photo with it.
Mhm.
But the canyon views, fully around Los Alamos and the mountain views, it is still gorgeous and stunning as compared to kind of the shots seen in the movie. Um, and I've done plenty of hikes around the area just to see, like, oh yeah, what is all parts of at least Los Alamos and now Santa Fe, like, what does it look like? And yeah, a lot of the scenes at least do match up when it comes to what does New Mexico look like. Because
Okay,
before I came here, I didn't have a good basis either.
okay, good. Well, things are still doing quite well here at Wichita State Physics. We have like about in the fall, we'll have about 29 graduate students, PhD and masters. Of course, our PhD program is small because we're not a PhD mill like some of the big schools. But,
Mhm.
we graduated 4 physics master's degree in the spring, summer of 2025. And we got at least 6 coming up in 2026. And any advice to give them other than what you already told them?
Uh, I would still say have the options available because, especially like between my time from bachelor's to master's and master's to what I'm doing now, it was one of those that I applied to various jobs, PhD programs, master programs, just put at least the wide net out, but also having the connections with like some of the other universities or just, oh, hey, so and so knows someone at a lab. Just try to make those connections, especially if like the students are going to conferences and things like that. Um, because part of the reason I got the initial job here was Jared's dad works for DOE labs, and so he was able to see like, oh, hey, there's I know someone that's up at Los Alamos, and just be able to get that initial connection with people.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, definitely the networking side is a big thing to do before graduation. That was always my difficult part was going through and updating everything.
Mhm.
But yeah, whichever option that people see would be better for their future, like even if it's just a short term 1 or 2 years,
Mhm.
take that because it's going to be a new experience into I've only ever done things in academia or NASA. And so seeing the flip side of DOE and okay, see how things differ. Like, how is the work life balance? That's another one to look into is, yeah, what's the work life balance going to be? Because some jobs you might not have any balance between the two. Whereas here, they have a really nice work life balance within my division specifically. So it's once it hits 5 o'clock or once you've hit your 9 hours for the day, it's like, go home, don't work on things after. So having at least that plethora of options is a nice thing.
Well, seems like you're happy, and it's great to see you succeed in physics using your degree from us. I know
Yes,
you're busy with research and all your projects at Los Alamos, so I wish you very the best on all of those endeavors. And hey, let's keep in touch as time goes by from time to time. So
of course.
thanks for joining me on this, and everyone else who's listening. If you have questions about our master's program, my specific group, email me or stop by my office, and I'll be happy to chat. Okay, bye for now.
Thank you very much.